it's Sasha here from The Little Dog Retreat, owner and creator of The Little Dog Retreat and TheLittleDogRetreat.com. Today we are going to discuss something that people might be kind of grossed out by, but super important when you have pets, and that is fleas. So what are fleas? How do you get rid of them? And most importantly, how do you prevent them? So fleas are atopical parasites. They live on the skin and they literally suck blood off of their host. Now there are about 2,000 species of fleas, but for the most part we're going to discuss the ones that you're going to come in contact with, which are the ones that live on your dog or your cat, maybe a bunny that you might have, and the ones that definitely hop onto you and suck your blood via your pet. So now, for the purposes of this video, we're going to discuss mostly natural remedies. There are many over-the-counter prescription type of drugs that you can put on or even have your dog swallow for fleas. We're not going to discuss that today. Now, if you do have a pup that either has been rescued or you have a dog that does have fleas and you have a flea infestation where it's just they're all over and you just can't get rid of them, I would recommend probably visiting your vet or just getting a natural topical remedy as well. Something like Frontline Plus is wonderful, or you can do the Advantage side. Now, with my business, I don't like fleas, and I don't like having fleas anywhere near my business, especially on my dogs or on my guests. So what we do is a lot of natural prevention. Now, with the over-the-counter prescription ones, I do use those on my furry dog, Haley, who is a Pomeranian. I usually use it just once or twice a year, and I use it just before the flea season sort of hits. So fleas will go dormant in colder seasons or colder climates, and then the larva will kind of reawaken, if you will, or the fleas will reawaken as it gets warmer. So you're going to see fleas more often in the spring, the late spring and summer, especially deeper into the summer. If you have a warm fall for wherever you are, you'll see them into the fall, and then typically they'll kind of disappear in the winter. That doesn't mean the fleas are gone. It just means that they're dormant. So you don't want to think, oh, the fleas are gone, we don't have to worry about anything. Prevention is still very important in the off season. So if you're going to use a flea medication, I personally like Frontline Plus. I have used Advantage in the past. I've used basic Frontline in the past, and Frontline Plus seems to do the best quick, fast remedy. Now that is something that goes on usually the back of the neck. You want to make sure your dog can't lick it because it is basically a toxin. It will absorb into their system, and then as fleas bite the pet, they'll draw blood, and the Frontline or the Advantage will kill them basically that way and prevent them from procreating. So that is in your dog's system. So to me, that's sort of a backup plan. I like prevention first. So with that being said, let's get started on prevention. So how do you keep your home clean and flea-free flea home? First of all, vacuum. You're going to want to vacuum, you're going to want to steam your floors, you're going to want to wash everything. So I have a pet business, so all of my clients, typically I work with toy breeds, so they do have some kind of flea medication that they take. But my biggest deterrent is no carpet. So if you're in a situation where you don't have carpet, it's going to be that much easier for you to have a flea-free home or a flea-free environment. Fleas will basically nest into the fibers of the carpet. So you'll might be able to treat the adult fleas, but you're still going to have the flea eggs and the flea larvae sitting in that carpet. So the best thing to do is make sure that you are vacuuming them up, that you're taking any kind of vacuum bag and throwing it outside in your garbage immediately so they're not sitting there in your home, that if you have a plastic vacuum container that it's in, that you're rinsing that out post-vacuum and you're throwing the garbage away afterwards. You're going to want to make sure that you steam clean floors and make sure wherever your dog or your pet, your cat, or an in-home bunny is sleeping, that particular bedding is constantly cleaned. You're going to want to use bleach on whatever they're sleeping on. Just a little bleach, normal laundry load. You don't have to do a super recycle or anything like that. You're just going to want to keep it clean. So keep your environment very clean. Constant vacuuming, once a week, steam once a week, that kind of thing, and then wash their bedding about once a week. For the furrier dogs, you're going to wash them once a week. For naked dogs per se, you're going to wash it maybe once every 2 weeks, but just mostly keep it clean, and that is quality flea prevention. Now, the life cycle of a flea is about 100 days. So they're going to live quite a while. And as they're living, they're going to constantly be laying eggs, and those eggs turn into larvae. And then the larva, I think it turns into pupa, and then the pupa becomes the actual flea. So what happens is you need to terminate that life cycle. You don't want it to continue on. So how can you do that? First and foremost, wherever your dog or your pet is sleeping, you're going to want to kind of treat the area. And how do you do that naturally? You can't see this necessarily. I've got a whole slew of things I'm going to show you how to do. So the very first and foremost, let's talk about your yard, because that is where your dog is going to probably come in contact with fleas or flea eggs. Now, if you're bringing them to a dog park, if you're taking them on hikes, if you're taking them to the beach, they're going to come in contact with fleas, and you really can't stop it. So there are woodland fleas, there are sand fleas, and they're going to randomly hop on you or your pet as you're going through those environments. So what you're going to want to do is make sure your dog is washed after a bath. Now, if you're going to a saltwater area, you can actually make sure that that your dog can run in the salt water. That's okay. A salt bath is a very simple way to prevent fleas. It'll actually kind of suffocate and dry them out and kill them. So if you're in an environment where you can do that out and about, that's okay. Or just bring them home and make sure you give them a nice quick bath with their natural soap. Add some salt into their shampoo and give them a natural bath. Make sure they don't lick it, because salt is sodium, and sodium can dehydrate your dog as well. So this is a topical solution, not an internal solution. So the other thing is when your pet is at home, you can take wherever they like to hang out outside, and whether it's a dog house or a bed or just an area in the yard, you can treat it with diatomaceous earth. Now I'm going to show you what that looks like. This is a powder substance, which is basically ground up, I want to say it's shells. So this is a natural compound. By the way, all of these things you can get on your natural stores. You can get them on Amazon. I usually purchase my stuff from Amazon just because it's nice and easy. You can get them, some of the things, at your local pet shop, especially if they have a natural section. But diatomaceous earth might not be on there. So what this is going to do, now it is a powder form, and I'll show you what that looks like. It is not great to inhale because they are basically ground up particulates of earth, so you don't want to inhale it. This is what it looks like, and it is a powder. So sort of the consistency of flour, baking flour, and it's really light. It is here, I'll lick my finger. It is completely natural, and you can kind of see it's just like a powder. So that powder itself is going to basically, you're going to take it, maybe about a cup, about a quarter cup to a half cup, depending upon the space you're treating. And you're just going to literally sprinkle it onto the space your dog likes to sleep, and then just kind of mix it into the soil. Just use your hands, mix it into the soil. After a couple minutes, it'll just kind of absorb into the soil, and that area will then be treated. Okay, so if your dog goes out there and is sleeping in it, they're not going to really get fleas from that spot, because the diatomaceous earth will dry out the flea larva and the fleas and prevent them from procreating. The next thing you're going to do is treat the inside of your home. So instead of using flea powders and things like that, they don't really work, and sprinkling them all over your carpet if you have carpet is mostly, again, if you can, keep the space clean. If your dog likes to sleep at one particular spot, make sure that is super clean. You can take some salt and sprinkle it on there, leave it for a day, come back to it, vacuum it up, but you don't want your dog licking that as well. You can also take some diatomaceous earth if you have a particular spot, like in front of a heater, especially in the winter. That spot can still have fleas because a heater is going to prevent them from going dormant. So you can also take some diatomaceous earth, make sure your dog isn't licking it or sleeping on it, and then let it sit for a day or two, and then go ahead and vacuum it up. So inside your home, whatever your dog is sleeping on, you're going to want to do some other prevention methods. Oh, before we go on, let's talk about your yard a little bit more. So what you can do also to prevent fleas in your yard is plant lavender. Lavender and mint are going to be wonderful remedies and beautiful garden aesthetics that you can enjoy for multiple purposes. But for the purpose of your dog, they can go and sleep under them, and your dog will naturally gravitate to those places because they won't have the itchiness from the fleas. And then of course they also can smell wonderful like lavender or mint. So I'm just going to show you, I do grow lavender in our outdoor space, especially for the dogs, and for exactly that purpose. I also love using lavender in many other ways. This is basically picked lavender. So we're kind of getting, you know, deep into the season. The lavender is starting to kind of sort of subside, but this is natural lavender. You notice what it looks like. You know, here's some that's still pretty fresh. It's got the purple leaves on it, and then here's some that is that's basically losing its prettiness, but it's still lavender. This is still a wonderful, useful tool in your home, for your natural remedy toolkit, for your herbal supplements and things like that. This is wonderful. So you're gonna just plant a natural lavender. There are several types or species of lavender plant. All of them will do the trick for you. So you can just go to your local nursery. You can buy seeds, you know, but especially as we get closer to fall, they're going to have them on sale. So just pick up some lavender. This is a very hardy plant, so you don't need to do a lot of maintenance. It's a pretty maintenance-free plant. You know, it's natural. We're in Washington State. We're in Western Washington, so our climate's pretty mild, but this will last through the winter. So give it, you know, buy it probably early enough around like July, August, or early fall, like September, October, where you're not going to have a cold ground freeze right when you plant it, and it will survive through the winter. If you plant it too close to a ground freeze, it probably won't last because it does need to take root first. The other thing you can plant is literally mint. Now, mint is a seasonal plant. Mint is, because it's an herb, it doesn't naturally reseed itself, but what it also does is you'll notice that your mint plant will die basically around, mine usually last in pots. They usually last until about October. They're going to want high sun. Your lavender plant can go in shade or medium to high sun. These actually last and are very, very neutral to that. The mint plant is going to be high sun. You're going to want to be able to have them be watered regularly. If you put it in a high sun and easily watered area, then these are going to just literally take over almost like a ground cover in your area, and they will keep coming back every single spring. So this is just a natural mint plant. Smells absolutely wonderful. And again, these are natural plants that your dog can roll around in, they can nibble on, they can literally just nap in, and it will help prevent fleas. You can also take that area and put a little diatomaceous earth underneath, almost like a mulch, spread it into the earth, and that will also help with any flea situations there. Now, what you can do with your lavender when you, during the off season, if you don't have a lot of lavender, is literally I store it. These are little satchels I've made, and I store it just in a little, this is just a little, like a jam jar, and I will store it. So I will take these pieces once they're dry, once this lavender is completely dry. Let's see if I can get some out of here. So once this lavender is completely dry, I will literally dismantle it, and then I'll put it like on a cookie sheet and put it in the oven for about, on low, very, very low, because it can catch on fire, just to kind of aid in the drying out process. So I'll put the oven on, I then turn it off so it's just really warm, and let it dry out for maybe 5 minutes. And so what I do is I take, this is just lavender, and I put it in a little satchel, and I'll store it all winter long. And then I'll use this as a natural supplement, herbal, topical remedy. There you go. And it smells wonderful. And so you can use this as a supplement, not an oral supplement, but in addition to your flea regime that you're doing. So if you are using, let me grab one that doesn't have a knot. If you are using any kind of topical flea medication, you can still do any of this in addition to that. So if we are using like an Advantage or a Frontline or something like that, you can still do this in addition to it. So this is what it looks like. There you go. Just those particulates, that's all lavender, and it's all useful. So what you're going to do to help keep the area inside flea free is basically get yourself just a bottle. This one came from, I think, Sally Hair Salon, the Sally Beauty Supply place. I think they're like $1 or $2. You can get them at the Dollar Tree for like $1. It's just a little spritz bottle. And so you're just going to fill it with some water. about halfway, then you're going to add a little bit of your either mint or lavender. Now you can mix mint and lavender. I think they smell wonderful mixed. If you are allergic to lavender, I would suggest using mint, or you can use just one or the other. You can go back and forth. It's not going to change anything. And you're going to add some of your natural lavender. Just put it right there into the jar. Now let's see, I'm gonna add more than that. So I'm gonna say roughly, I eyeball this typically, but I'm gonna say probably a tablespoon realistically of your lavender. And so I'm just gonna show you what this looks like. So you're just gonna put the lavender in. Put the lavender in. There's the natural lavender. You can also just take your natural mint, and whether you end up doing an actual garden space or you just want like an herb garden or a window garden, that's okay. Tear up the leaves so they're small, then put them in there. And again, you can do just mint or just lavender or both together. So that's what it looks like so far. It smells really good. And then here's the catch. You're going to want to dilute some essential oil. Now, if you put this in here, you can just shake it up and leave it. I would usually put this in a refrigerator for about a day for it to kind of soak into the water and really start to kind of almost steep in the water. But I personally also add essential oils. So here's just my natural essential oil. This is lavender. I'm just going to put about 3 drops. So remember, with the essential oil, a little bit goes a long way. So we've got 1, 2, 3. And then I will also add just a little bit of mint, peppermint. And then this one, I've got a dropper, so I can be a little bit more. And about 3 drops there. 1, 2, 3. These are a little bit kind of longer drops. And this is your pillow spritz, okay? We're gonna put the lid. This is your pillow spritz. So wherever your dog ends up sleeping, whether they're on a bed with a pillow, just kind of mix that up. Again, leave this usually in a refrigerator for maybe about 24 hours for it to really get the full benefit in the water. And there it is. And this is gonna be your natural pillow spritz. I'm gonna grab something to spray. Here's my dog's toy. So this is when I work, my dog works on her laptop also. So you're just gonna spray it. There we go, just a nice light mist. And there you go. That's a natural topical flea preventer, okay? The fleas do not like the herbs, and it will basically deter them from nesting and resting there. Now, that is a nice spritzy. You can spray this on your dog. It is safe to spray on your dog. It is safe to spray anywhere in your home because it's a completely natural, chemical-free solution. This in your refrigerator will last roughly about 3 weeks to a month. So when you start to notice that the lavender's turning, stop using it because it is a natural substance and it does not have anything in it to prevent molding. It will eventually mold. So that's normal. That's okay. Now, if you want to keep one of these without the extra stuff in there, you can literally just do about a half container of water and then just put the oils in. That will last a lot longer. That will last you anywhere from about a month to about 6 months, depending upon use, how often you use it. Now, when it comes to essential oils, there's a couple other things. I personally like lavender and mint. You can also peppermint. You can also use lemon. So you can add some lemon to this solution. You can do just mint and lemon. You can do lavender and lemon. You can do lavender, lemon, mint, whatever you like the smell of. And also think of your dog. If your dog really is enjoying the mint or the therapeutic scent of lavender, that's fantastic. If your dog is kind of like, why did you spray everything with lemon? What's going on? Then stop using the lemon. So kind of, look at your dog and see if they're enjoying the space. Lavender is going to be pretty neutral as long as you're not allergic to lavender. It's going to be wonderful for you and wonderful for your dog, and also a wonderful flea prevention. So that's what I would suggest. So you don't have to use the extra stuff. You don't have to have any of the actual lavender or mint naturally. You can just use the oils and it will last a lot longer. Now, if you're going to, if you're going to be using oil and put it on any of the spots of the dog. So if you're going to be putting any oils on your dog, you're going to want to use a carrier oil to dilute the oils. These oils here are concentrated and the concentration is very strong. So you're going to want to dilute this with either water or a carrier oil. A carrier oil can be, I like coconut oil. I've done this in other videos, just a natural coconut oil. Or you can use like an olive oil. You can use a hardened coconut oil. You can use a safflower oil or a sunflower oil. Those are all okay. You're just, oops, I dropped it. You're just gonna wanna dilute that. So, okay, well, it's rolling away. But, so what I'm gonna show you how to do that is literally take any kind of jar. You can use a spoon. I got this from a little consignment place and I love it. It's my little tiny mortar pestle set. I have a larger one also. You're gonna literally put in your oil, about 1 or 2 squirts, and then you're gonna put in your essential oil. Now, again, I would always start with 1 drop, no more than 1 drop, and then see how your dog is doing. This is for large or small dogs, depending upon, or a rabbit or a cat. Cats are gonna love the lavender more than the mint or the lemon. Dogs will also probably be a little bit more keen to the lavender, but they also do enjoy mint. So you're gonna take your oil. This is peppermint. I'm gonna do 2 drops just because I love it. And then you're just literally going to mix it up. So mix it up, and then you can use this. Now what's nice is because the essential oil is an oil, and the base that I'm using is also an oil, it's going to mix up very quickly, very easily. If you're using a water, it's not going to mix up as much. You're going to really want to make sure that you kind of wrestle it around until you've got kind of a consistency where you feel like it's not just the mint. And then you can literally just take this and put it on places on your dog. Now, a couple of the places that fleas are going to hang out the most are going to be the hot spots. So pressure points, hot areas on your dog. So the back of the neck is just easy because your dog can't bug it much. The back of the tail, under the armpits, under the groin, and right around the genitalia are going to be really big spots because your dog is those are the hot areas, so it's going to be a nice climate for them. And then also it's going to be on the back of the neck and the back of the tail. It's going to be an area where the dog can't really get to it. So this smells wonderful. You are just going to apply like a drop or 2 and just leave it. Now, if you're going to be using oils, put them on the back of the neck or the back of the tailbone. Again, just the back of the neck or the back of the tailbone. This is a preventative measure. So if your dog is really filled with fleas, this is not going to kill all the fleas. This is preventative, not treatment specifically. So this is just, again, a wonderful thing to make sure, like if you're going to a dog park or you're going to the beach where you're going to come in contact with sand fleas, this would just putting a couple little drops on little spots of your dog will definitely help. Or just spraying their, now you don't want to just spray their fur, you want to lift the fur and spray so it touches the skin, because that's what you want to stay on the skin and if a flea jumps onto the skin, then be irritated by the smell and the scent and basically the kind of the taste of this, okay, opposed to just the topical fur. So you want to get it onto their skin, and just a little bit goes a long way. So what kind of oils can you use? You can use lavender, peppermint, lemon. Those are my personal favorites. And then when it comes to the water solution or the oil, these are just topical. These are not meant to go in their food. This isn't meant to go in their mouth or their eyes or their ears, anything like that. These are just topical prevention methods. Now, if your dog does have fleas, what you can start to do is pretty much, kind of check for them. So how do you check for fleas? The easiest way, this is Mercedes here. She's going to be my model. She's napping. So the easiest way to check and see if your dogs have fleas, you can get yourself a flea comb pretty much at any kind of pet supply store. It's got the tiny teeth, and you're going to check for basically kind of the flea poop, which are the little black dots. Now, the other thing you can do is if you notice your dog is sleeping on something and there's some weird specks, you can put them on something white. And if there's any little blood drops, so any kind of little red dots with some black dots, your dog has fleas or your pet has fleas. So then you need to start to do prevention and treatment. Now, if your dog has just a couple fleas and you want to shy away from using any kind of chemical, what I would suggest would be the salt bath. So literally take about a half cup of salt, mix it in some water, let it literally dilute, add your soap to it, and then scrub them down with that salt bath. It will basically dehydrate the larva and the egg, and the flea will just kind of repel. Now, you can also do, I have heard plenty of people talk about the soap solution. The soap solution is basically where you take like your normal standard kitchen soap, put it in some water, put a bowl of water next to your dog while they're sleeping, and the fleas will hop in it and technically die. And the reason why that does not work is, first of all, it's only taking care of the flea, not the larva or the egg. And then also, you don't want your dog drinking the water, which some dogs don't care about the soapiness and they'll just start drinking the water, and then they're ingesting those fleas, which you don't really want because they are a parasite, and so you don't want them inside their body. Technically, the stomach acid would kill technically anything, but again, you don't want your dog taking in any of those kind of critters. So the flea water bowl is really, I mean, it can kind of test and confirm that you've got fleas, but I would shy away from that. I would give them a nice salt bath first, and then if that doesn't prevent future fleas, then go ahead and give them an atopical solution. You know, fleas are one of those things where once they kind of start going, they procreate very rapidly. So if you haven't been doing prevention and notice you've got 1, then 5 or more fleas, go ahead and give them an atopical solution. It'll get rid of them really fast. So this is mostly for prevention, but how you check, I'm gonna wake her up, is go ahead, grab yourself a flea comb. Here's Mercedes. Hi, boom. Okay, curl up. There we go. So Mercedes is just going to demonstrate here. I'm just going to give her a nice little flea comb. Now, she is a naked dog, as I would say, not a furry dog. So it's going to be easy to check her for fleas. And you're basically just going to comb through in the direction of the fur, and then just right through the shoulder blades is a great area, and then right down the back into the backbone where it meets the tail. And you're basically just gonna look. So she's got a little bit of pet dander and some fur, and luckily no fleas. Now I know she doesn't have fleas, and we're big on flea prevention here, but you're just gonna kind of check them. What you'll see in the event that your dog does have fleas is you might catch 1 or 2 fleas in the comb, and then you might see a lot of black specks. That's kind of the flea debris, the flea poop. Are you done? So what you're gonna do is first make an atopical solution, and then you're just gonna spritz them. Mercedes, here we go. You're just gonna spritz the key areas like the back and the butt. And then you can go down the spine and then just kind of rub it in. Just rub it in. Now, she smells wonderful now. And this is just gonna start to dehydrate the flea egg and dehydrate the larva so that they can't hatch. And then it will start to irritate the adult flea. Are you done? She feels awkward on a chair. There you go. So that's kind of flea prevention. Now, again, what I would probably do if you are prepping for flea season, so this is like late March or so, is I would get the diatomaceous earth, put it in the ground soil once you have your last freeze. So sometime in early to mid-April, you're gonna put it in those areas that you know your dog likes to sleep. And then you're gonna start to make a topical solution and just start spritzing their stuff with it. Never spritz them in the face. Your dog will consider this a disciplinary act if you spritz them in the face, and that's bad. So you don't wanna do this. This is never meant to be mean or scary or a disciplinary act in any way. So if you do have a rescue who has had an adverse background where they've had some abuse, I would shy away from using the spritz bottle and instead just use the topical oil instead. Now, for me as a person, the last thing I will mention is what I use if I do get bit by a flea, because for me, I get the inflamed red spot. I'm allergic to fleas, which is also more important why I don't want fleas anywhere near my business or my dogs. But I get the red inflamed skin, and it starts to itch and whatnot. And so if you get that too, it's pretty common. This is what I use. This is for humans. So this is a Burt's Bees. It's the chamomile wood bark deep cleansing cream, soap bark, and chamomile. This is fantastic. And so what I do is if I get, let's say we go to the beach and I let my dogs play in the sand and they're playing around, they're having a good time, and then I come back and I've got a flea bite, is I will start to treat Haley, and then I will put this on my flea bite, and that way it doesn't irritate my skin. And it's just, you're going to use a tiny amount and literally just pop it on. Just pop it on that spot. And for me, this will make that inflamed red spot literally go away within like an hour or less. If I haven't used this, then my skin will literally start to itch and kind of inflame, and then it will last like a day or two. It just gets really, really itchy and it's awful. So this is a wonderful topical solution. I have also used this for centipede bites. I have used this for sunburns and things like that. So this is a great thing to just keep on hand in sort of your medical arsenal. It is by Burt's Bees. It's fantastic. And again, that's just the soap bark chamomile. This is fantastic for treating flea bites on people. And then the other thing, the last thing I will say is if you are going to use a Frontline Plus or an Advantage, anything like that, any kind of topical flea medication, I would shy away from anything that's collar related, just because you don't want your dog to chew on that chemical. Okay, you don't want them to get that in there or try to get it off and gnaw it in any way. And they don't really work that well because they're in a concentrated area. So the back can still have fleas. They'll just avoid the collar area. So they don't work that well. Instead, you're going to want to use, again, sort of either the topical spot that goes on the between the shoulder blades and right at the tail. And then I will say you don't have to use them all year long. So for instance, I personally usually will pre-treat Haley if I know that it's going to be a hot summer and I think it's going to be a high flea summer, then I will give her one dose. A dose usually lasts about 30 days. And so I'll give her a dose usually late April and then kind of see how it goes. So I don't necessarily give them to him every single month if I know that she's not going to be in an environment where she's got a lot of fleas. Now I say that being a dog daycare, dog boarding facility, so I know that she's going to come in contact with a lot of dogs, but most dogs in my care, specifically since they're toy breeds, aren't running around dog parks constantly, aren't going on hikes, and aren't going to the beach all the time. So I know that the environment is going to be fairly limited to the exposure rate to the fleas. Now, if your dog is a larger dog and goes to a dog daycare and is constantly going to be in contact with fleas, you may want to use it about 6 months or so of the year. Now, I always say give your dog a break from some of those medications. So during times of the year where they're just not going to, let's say they're going to be January, February, maybe December, give your dog a break from that. Let their body heal, heal from those chemicals that are in their system, and then try to use a topical solution or something else in place of those. And then if I'm going to have my dog in daycare all summer long, then you can go back to using your flea medication, obviously, to prevent fleas from infesting your home or getting on your dog. But if you are coming home from a larger dog daycare, you can use this to kind of spritz their stuff. Again, if we personally don't allow any personal belongings to come with the dogs as far as toys and bedding, so we don't have to do that here at our location. But if your dog is going to an environment where they are bringing their own toys or their own bedding or jackets or whatnot, wash that immediately the moment you get home. Don't leave it around. Don't leave it out. Just make sure that gets washed so they don't have any flea eggs potentially on that. And then also make sure, those first few days back, give them a topical spritz or a solution. Again, this should be considered a fun thing for your dog. So if your dog is freaking out by it, just use the oils around those points as well, instead of the spritz, so they don't get scared. You can still spritz like their main bed at home. And then also the diatomaceous earth. Remember to use that in the garden, and plant some lavender. Plant some lavender, plant some mint. It is amazing how your dogs or your cats or your bunny will gravitate to those places where they feel the best. And then not only do they feel great and they smell great, but then it will prevent any kind of flea migration from that location inside your home. So I hope this helped. Definitely take a check out and look out at definitely look at our Instagram and our YouTube channel. Check out our private Facebook group called I Speak Dog Training Club, where we answer questions about health and training tips. And then also be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below if you have a natural remedy that you would like to know more about, or if you're interested in sharing something that you use at home. Definitely put the comments down below. I would love to hear from you. I love natural remedies and kind of natural treatments, so definitely share those and we'll spread the word. If you have any questions, comment below, and I look forward to talking to you. Talk to you again soon. Bye.